Staying on top of US sales tax obligations as a Canadian Shopify seller can cause some anxiety. Choosing a good tool to help you get rid of that can help, but choosing the wrong one can mean missed deadlines and penalties. Today, I'm breaking down the top 4 US sales tax solutions: Shopify Tax, Avalara, TaxJar, and Numeral. I'll walk you through what they do, their pros, their cons, and which one I recommend for most Canadian Shopify sellers. I'm also going to show you their platform and their UI and advise on what is simple and what you should follow. I'm Sal, founder and CPA here at Sal Accounting, an e-commerce focused tax firm in Toronto that can help you with Canadian but also US tax obligations. Let's get into the video. So first up, Shopify Tax. This tool is built right into Shopify, so it's super easy for you to use. It's designed for simple tax calculations and does give you basic reports to help you stay compliant. Here's what it does well. It calculates US sales tax obligations for over 11,000 US jurisdictions. Yes, in the United States, you do have state tax and sales tax based on jurisdictions. So it's not as simple as Canada, where you just have HST from a lot of our provinces, and then GST in some, and then PST in a couple. The sales tax in the United States is broken down by states, but also by jurisdictions, and it gets really, really complicated. Some of these tools that I'm going to talk about today are actually going to even break it down by your rooftop, what street your customer lives in, and what the exact specific sales tax applies to them. Coming back to Shopify. So Shopify is not going to do that for you. It only does it at a basic jurisdiction level, right? It does suggest product categories, and it does handle basic tax calculations, and it does that for the US, also does it for the European Union and the UK. The best part is it's free for the first $100,000 in sales, and then after that there is still a cheaper version compared to other softwares that I'm going to talk about later in the video. The downside of Shopify Tax is it doesn't file or pay your taxes for you. It just calculates them for you. This means you will have to either handle them manually yourself or use another software or tool like TaxJar, Numeral, or Avalara, which I'm going to cover in the remainder of this video, to automate this process for you. So Shopify Tax does half the work for you. Now, do I suggest you do this manually? Absolutely not. Unless you have very, very small number of sales, you're just starting out, I would highly recommend you not go into the manual route. If you miss a single deadline, there's penalties involved, and you could even make mistakes, and then again there's penalties involved. So I would say just splurge a little bit of extra cash and go through the next tools that I'm going to talk about just now. Which brings me to number 2, Avalara. Avalara, or Ava Tax, is built for companies that sell across multiple states and even multiple countries. Avalara is across 190 countries, and it is a perfect solution for companies that have global operations. It tracks where you owe taxes, so you don't have to figure it out. It calculates them, it files them, and you can even do payments through Avalara. So it is an amazing option for large, complex businesses that have global and multiple countries and multiple states that you're selling to. The downside is that Ava Tax, or Avalara, is very expensive, and the setup can be complicated very, very quickly. For smaller business, I would say it's more than what you need. Now, who's this for? Again, it's good for large, complex businesses, not so much for small businesses. Now, before we go on to the third one, I'm going to mention that throughout this video, I am comparing the 4 options. And at the end, I'm also going to show you the different platforms and how they look from the inside. So do stick around till the end. And now let's jump into number 3, which is TaxJar. TaxJar I prefer much more than Avalara. It is more focused for e-commerce businesses, and it is simpler than Avalara. TaxJar tracks where you meet economic nexus, which means that which states do you have sales tax registrations in, because you've hit the threshold and now you have to collect sales tax, you have to calculate it and also pay it to the government. Its best feature is auto-file, which means it will automatically file your tax returns for you and even do the payments for you. This means no manual work like was the case with Shopify Tax, no missed deadlines, and no stress. TaxJar is relatively simple to set up, simpler than Avalara, and it works with Shopify, Stripe, and other platforms. The pricing for TaxJar is based on your transaction volume. So I do prefer TaxJar over Avalara for those sort of businesses. So let's move on to number 4, which is Numeral, and actually my favorite for small Shopify sellers. Numeral is the new tech-savvy kind of solution, and it is specifically for e-commerce businesses, specifically for Shopify business actually. And what makes it easy and simple is that their UI, which I'm going to show you in the later half of the video, is made much more simpler and much more easier for new businesses to set up themselves without any complicated tax knowledge yourself. You can do this all yourself. It automatically registers your business in states where you owe them taxes, and it handles all of the tax filing, the registration, and the payment as well. The only downside with Numeral is it is a bit of a newer tool, so I'm guessing there's not going to be too many videos or too many tutorials that you're going to find on how to use Numeral. Your tax accountant, if he needs to look into it, might not be as comfortable with it, though we do have clients that have Numeral, and we're much focused and comfortable with using Numeral. But sometimes people have this sort of anxiety that I'm not going to use a new tool because if they make a mistake, then I could be liable for penalties or interest on my delayed filings. However, in my situation with my clients, I have always seen Numeral to be fantastic, and it's had amazing results, and they've never missed a deadline. I've never seen them do that. So without any further ado, I'm going to get into what this software look like from the inside, and I'm going to show you the sneak peek, and I would then finally give you my recommendation on what you should follow for your situation. So let's look at TaxJar first. You create an account, you put in your business details, get to the next step. It's going to ask you how many transactions do you have in a month. Once your account is set up, you've put your business address and everything, it's going to ask you whether you wanted to do calculations, also the reporting, and the filing, everything for you. You can even delegate a team member to give you access, right? And that's pretty much it. Your account's set up, and then you can start selecting which states you have filing requirements in, and TaxJar is going to kind of do everything for you. So as you can see on my screen right now, there's all the steps that you have to follow in TaxJar, where if you go down to step 4, you can let it know where you want to collect sales tax. But step 5, it would help you also learn which other states you have tax filing obligations in, and it would help in step 6. It's going to help you register and do everything for you right away. So this is the dashboard within TaxJar, and as you can see, pretty simple. It just tells you you've got North Carolina, how much sales tax you've collected, when is the next filing due, and how frequent is that. It works with the majority of e-commerce platforms. As you can see, Shopify is there, there's Amazon, there's eBay, and a bunch of others too. So when you go down and you select which state, and you can just click add state with Nexus, and then it would automatically calculate your taxes. It's going to ask you what's the filing requirement, what's the state tax ID, and then it's going to handle everything for you. So here's an example. Just as you go down, you're getting all your sales tax calculated, and TaxJar is handling everything after that. So now let's move on to Avalara. Avalara, as I mentioned, is better for larger, more complicated businesses. It's going to ask you similar sort of questions in terms of your business address, which it needs to determine your physical nexus, which is basically the fact that the state that you're in, you have to collect sales tax in that state, and then obviously economic nexus in the other states based on the thresholds if you're meeting them. By the way, guys, if these are terms that you want to get more familiar with, I'm going to put a video here that talks about economic nexus, physical nexus, what those things are, and what state you should be registering in. In the same video, I also have a calculator I use myself and I've created to help you know which states you hit the requirements in, so you can register on those states as well. So do check it out. Back to where we are. So it asks you for all the jurisdictions where your business is. And now, so scrolling down, you can see that it has also a bunch of integrations in here. There's Stripe, and it even connects to your QuickBooks. And as you see here, once it's linked, you can start charging sales tax and it's going to handle everything for you. It also has a tax calculator here if you wanted to check it out. So now moving on to Numeral. Numeral again is my favorite, and as you'll see right off the bat, it's got a much simpler portal to use. The UI is much more simpler. Similar sort of questions. They're asking for your revenue, asking for your business address and your website. Now you can select the states that you're meeting the nexus in, right? And then you've got all of these apps that it integrates with, and obviously Shopify is definitely one of them. Once your state's selected, you will know how much tax is due. It's ready for you to approve, and then the jurisdictions where you're registered in. So in my opinion, Numeral is definitely my favorite choice and something I always refer to my clients, especially those who are small. If you're in a medium-sized business, especially if you're thinking to expand to a lot of states, perhaps you want to consider TaxJar. And if you want to expand into multiple countries, I would definitely recommend Avalara for you. Again, I would not recommend going just with Shopify Tax. Guys, if this video is helpful, hit like, hit subscribe. You're going to get more videos every single week that are specific to US tax for e-commerce store owners. And if you want any situation specific advice, especially relating to income tax, which is what none of these tools answer for you, my team would love to help you out. Just go to salaccounting.ca and book a call with my team. See you in the next one.